Welcome to the washing machine of Thun, also known as the wave on the Scherzliglok. For mere mortals, this wave is a danger to life. But to the best freestyle kayakers in the world, this is the perfect place to find out who really is the best of the best. Few river waves are this spectacular, lying as it does in the middle of a medieval town.
It's a great wave. It's very technical. You definitely have to make sure that you're landing your moves in the right spot and you're paying attention because, as you saw, it's very easy to flush.
The audience has a perfect view of the river from above.
The wave's amazing, the spot's amazing. We've got a perfect arena for the sport here in Thun, and I'm loving being here.
280 athletes from 32 countries are taking part in this competition in the region of Bern in Switzerland.
This is a great event. It's one of the biggest freestyle events ever been so far.
The biggest world championships in the sport brings together a family of athletes that above all are here to share a wave and an experience. Sometimes there are still a few bus stops, but more about that later. First of all, it's time for a kayak rodeo. Here's why. It's all about who can hang on to the wave for longest. Anyone hoping to win also has to mix in as many moves and tricks as possible and will obtain points from the jury for each. Aerials earn some of the best points, like in this air blunt or this air screw. Paddling and flying happens in various classes of vessel. K1 is the main discipline and the cutting edge of the sport. Others, such as C1, are closer to traditional canoes. Unlike the K1 paddlers, these athletes knee in their boats and use a simple paddle. The higher center of gravity makes things that bit more difficult. The difficulty is something that fascinates followers of this discipline.
When I was really little, I was too small to kayak, and the extra height advantage in a C1, I was a bit better, so I've just loved it ever since. And it's more difficult, so more challenging.
The most traditional paddlers on the scene use an open canoe with no spray vest to stop water filling their boat, like the other riders have. The open canoe paddlers are the real men in the sport. The others don't have any water in their boat, but we end up with at least 40 liters in there. You really have to fight just to get the boat moving, and it's really hard to stay on the wave. One rule is the same for all of them. They have 45 seconds to impress. Apart from being beautiful, the wave in Thun is especially suited for the competition, because it can be switched on and off. Organizer Simon Hirter explains how it works.
Ja, die Welle, das ist eigentlich noch speziell, das ist so ein Mysterium, so ein bisschen. Also wir haben hier auf dieser Schleuse...
The wave is very special and it's all a bit mysterious. The lock has 10 doors that we can control independently. I call Bern and they control the doors by computer. We open them 3, 4, 5, 10 centimeters. It's a complex relationship between the level of the water and other elements. It's very hard to get a wave.
Unterwasserspiegel, also es ist ab und zu sehr schwierig, um dort wirklich eine Welle anzubekommen. Aufgrund vom Durchfluss, der unter dem Wasser, was bei diesen Toren durchgeht,
the flow of the water through the gates determines how high, low, white or green the wave is. Despite its modest size, the wave here in Thun is more than worth of the World Championships.
It's not the biggest wave, and that's what makes it challenging. You know, you really have to work at getting big moves, and the people that can get the big moves on this wave definitely deserve to be here.
There are much bigger waves to be seen in Joel Kowalski's new film that premieres at the event in Thun.
So my movie's titled Stakeout, and it's all about our Quebec tour every spring. The rivers in Quebec and Canada are really huge, and it's got amazing huge river waves, and we surf them, and it's just documenting all the big air freestyle that we do there.
One of the paddlers in the film is Ross Sturgis, who also rapped the soundtrack.
Big progression in the sport is on surfing, massive river waves where there's more risks involved, it's a lot more dangerous, and Stakeout sort of showcases that element of the sport. Yeah, finding new places, new features, and so we're constantly trying to find new stuff on Google Earth or just traveling around, and it's pretty exciting.
I made it exactly how I would want to watch a movie, so I'm very happy with it.
The film has a novel distribution strategy.
The film will be available for free online at stakeoutmovie.com, and so everyone will be able to see it free of charge.
Back to the small but perfectly formed wave at Thun. The stars of the show don't have it easy, as they first have to make it through multiple qualification rounds before get to the grand finals. The same goes for all the contenders, even those that already have made a name for themselves. Eric Jackson won his 4th title at the last Freestyle World Championships and has taken part in the Olympics as a slalom racer. Even at the ripe age of 45, the American is still amongst the world's best. His offspring are already beginning their own march on the sport. His daughter Emily is junior world champion and is taking part in the women's competition for the first time. Dane Jackson, another child of his, is at the start line in the C1 category. Another member of the Jackson clan is Nicholas Troutman. The Canadian is married to Emily Jackson and is one of his father-in-law's biggest opponents.
My family shares everything together because we go to each event and paddle together every single day. It's wonderful. It really keeps our family together, and we just love kayaking.
Well, yeah, we go paddle every day. It's pretty much what the Jackson family does. We travel around. We live in a motorhome 6 months a year, and just travel around from event to event, and we homeschool the kids. So we do quite a bit of paddling. Yeah.
In case they weren't dominant enough, over 80% of the field will be paddling Jackson brand kayaks from the factory of the greatest living freestyle paddler.
Oh shoot, I forgot about how to run the company. No, the company, as far as that goes, we've got a great team of people that are back at the factory. My job is to go kayak and show people the boats and sell kayaks, and I've got a great team of people, their job to make sure the kayaks get built properly and we get them designed right and everything, that type of thing. So we've got a great team, just like our paddling team, our factory team's top notch too.
There are a few non-Jacksons in the field too. Female world champion Ruth Gordon joins promising Europeans like 2008 World Cup winner Peter Csonka or European champion Mathieu Dumoulin. The preliminary rounds and quarterfinals separate the wheat from the chaff until only 10 athletes make it to the semis. Only 5 of them will make it to the finals. First, it's time for a bit of distraction. King of the Wave is the name of the game. The athletes, who up until now have patiently waited in line to take their turn on the wave, now throw all manners to the wind as they battle mercilessly to keep on the wave. The last one left is crowned king of the wave. The officials and organizers also enter the fray. The last two left are the coach of the Swedish team and the Slovakian paddler Nina Halasova. And it's a first. 2009 sees a queen of the wave crowned. The Slovakian secret?
Maybe better timing, and you can be scared to push people out, or I don't know.
There's more excitement to be had in the rough high-ender. The idea is to lift the boat so high in the water that you can reach a pair of shoes suspended 3 meters over the water. It's not as easy as it sounds. Many rafting guides take part. They'd never try this with paying guests on board though. You can tell they are taking all this seriously by the safety equipment they're wearing. Another discipline that doesn't count towards the championship is the kayak big air. Those frolics go on as the losers party gets on the way for those that didn't make it. The women's semi-final is a little more serious. Emily Jackson reaches the final smoothly, as does world champion Ruth Gordon. Dane Jackson misses out on the C1 final by a whisker in 6th, but is still in the running in the K1 juniors. The C1 semi is a good round for the French-Canadian Guillaume Larue. Eric Jackson manages to break the 1,000-point barrier with a great performance.
I was a little bit slow. I'm going to go a little bit bigger tomorrow. I'm trying to get 1,300 points.
Petr Čonka, the best paddler of last season, doesn't make it this time. However, there's a surprise Parisian student called Jules Calais, representing Europe in the final. The waves aren't just loved by the kayak paddlers. Snowboarder Willy Kirstenholz, the Olympic champion, shows he isn't only a deckhand with frozen water. The water temperature is only 17 degrees, by the way, just right for Vikings. Stefan Siegrist shows how little he wants to take a dip with his balance display. Then it's time for some competition. First, the men in the open canoes are up. Despite the heavy load, Stefan Petsch manages a good performance. Jeremy Locks also shows us how it's done.
In open boat, you have to kind of go with the moves as they happen and how much water you have in the boat. In the other disciplines, you can kind of plan out your ride a lot more. But in open boat, it's best to hit the biggest moves first. So I went for the air blunt first when there was no water in the boat. And then after that, just kind of go with the flow and see how much water I have in the boat and hit the easier moves as the boat fills up. 2 years ago, I won the bronze medal, and I've just been working since then, redesigning my boat and training a lot to come here and win. And I'm really glad it worked out.
The women's junior final is won by a length by Nuria Newman. The French paddler outclassed her rivals to snap up her first World Championship title. The 18-year-old student Jason Craig delivers the goods in the boys' final. Some tip him to top the seniors in no time at all. He'll be traveling back to Reno High School with a World Champion Award in his luggage.
Pretty incredible. I don't think it's quite sunk in, but it's a cool feeling. It was awesome. That's my friend right there, Dane Jackson. I think he's in second, and just a great fun. It was fun to just paddle with my friends, and this is what it's all about.
16-year-old Dane Jackson gets silver. He still has 2 years to get that junior gold.
Feel good. My best friend Jaden Craig just took first place, and I'm pretty happy. He deserved it. He was paddling super well, and I'm fired up with how well I did as well, so I'm pretty happy.
The women's final sees a continuation of the duel between world champion Ruth Gordon and the junior challenger Emily Jackson. Emily gets her nose ahead with a huge performance.
I was, playing around top 3 throughout semis, prelims, quarters, everything. And finals was just really my make or break. Either I had to go big or go home.
Her score left everyone else in the dust.
And I thought I was coming back to defend my title, but it looks like I'm in second place today. You know what, I definitely didn't paddle my best. So that's a little bit disappointing just for me personally. But truthfully, to lose to Emily, who's a fantastic paddler and had an awesome ride out there, I couldn't be happier.
Gold at the first try. That's Jackson efficiency.
My second run was definitely my best run. Normally my second run is always my first one, kept me in first. But my second one was just to show all the people, what girls can do now.
Australian Tanya Foe manages to secure third place at the last moment. Joel Kowalski opens the men's final. Luckily, only the best of 3 rounds counts. Jules Calais starts well, but loses the wave too soon. Stephen Wright sets an early standard. Then comes Nicholas Troutman. His first run is a shock. 1,510 points. It would be almost impossible to pull more moves in those 45 seconds. Eric Jackson has an answer, but it's not enough. The family peace stays intact, however. Stephen Wright shows he can really ride in his last run. However, he can't shake the dominance of the Jackson Troutman clan.
Oh, it was awesome. Nick came out of the gates, obviously with the biggest ride of the competition on his first ride, so there was no like, oh, well, you could probably win by pacing yourself, so you had to go for a good ride, like your full-on ride all the way, which is way more fun to compete that way. You're not defending something, you're really charging for something. So I had a lot of fun. I never got my whole routine or anything, but obviously got enough points to get into second, so super happy.
So I kind of woke up this morning and I just felt like today was going to be a good day. And I've got my wife and my mom over there and a whole bunch of people cheering for me and all my good friends in the eddy rooting me on. And I just dropped into the wave and everything just was clicking and working.
At the World Championships 2 years ago, Troutman dominated the heats but was just beaten by Jackson in the final. Both of them remember that day.
He took it from me last time, so I figured it's a fair trade.
Oh yeah, it's a two-year deal. He gets to keep it for 2 years and feel real good, and then I mean, he could get second next time. That's cool. Chill out, enjoy.
20-year-old Nicholas Troutman is the new king of freestyle kayaking. Second is Eric Jackson, and third is Stephen Wright. The podium is an all-English-speaking affair. The same goes for the women's. Bronze goes to Tanya Foe from Australia, silver to Ruth Gordon from Canada, and gold to Emily Jackson from the USA.